All right. Sorry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session. And I hope you are doing well. And thank you for joining us from different part of the world. And it's my pleasure to host our today's session. So let's get started with a quick introduction of our community and our session this month. So as you are seeing here in this slide, so we uh, actually we have Miguel Félix from Portugal today, and he is our special guest today. And we will have an exciting session around the Power BI developer mode. So we are going to learn a lot around the Power BI developer mode today. So next week we will have Ambesh Sign, and he will talk about the Copilot and a low-code love story. Hopefully, see you in the next week for the last session of the August, and I'm going to uh, publish and promote the September session next week, and hopefully to have all of you in the September session as well. So let's move forward with a little introducing our Microsoft Learn community. So the Microsoft Learn community offers various ways for learners to connect with peers and experts to enhance their expertise and achieve career goals. It includes the Microsoft Learn Hub for updates and discussions, and learning rooms for direct engagement on specific topics. Access the community through the provided links for more information and to join. So there is two link here, aka.ms/Microsoft Learn community. So you can get more information about the Microsoft Learn community, mission, vision, and the the uh, content, everything, and also the aka.ms/learning room. So you can join to learning rooms and learn experts in the community through this link. Power Platform Learner to Leader is one of the Microsoft Learn learning rooms, which has more than 2,000 members, and we are sharing the latest information about Power Platform in our learning rooms, and also conduct this type of series of sessions for Power Platform enthusiasts. So if you are not member of our tech community and the learning room, so you can join us through this link, aka.ms/join PPLTL, Power Platform Learner to Leader. And the last slide at my end is about the code of the conduct and the rule that we have here. Microsoft aims to empower everyone globally through knowledge sharing and events, ensuring a respectful and inclusive environment for all. Harassment and or degrading actually behavior is not tolerated, and everyone is responsible for upholding these standards. The code of conduct encourages awareness, respect, openness, understanding, and kindness. So before we begin, a few important notes also is here. If you have any question during the presentation, feel free to type them in the chat box. We will have a dedicated Q&A session around 5 or 10 minutes toward at the end, and this session is being recorded for those who couldn't join us live, and will be available shortly in Power Platform Learner to Leader YouTube channel. So without any delay, I'm going to put Miguel to the stage. Hello, Miguel.
Hello, Arash. Thank you for having me. Hello,
Nice to
everyone.
meet you. You are welcome, and thank you for joining us today. So you can start your presentation and share your presentation with our audience.
Okay.
And start introducing yourself.
Just give me a second so I can share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. I added to the stage. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Arash, and again, welcome everyone. So, as Arash said, I'm going to talk a little bit about Power BI Developer Mode. So, we will see what this means in terms of the business user and what are the potential use cases that we have as a developer in Power BI. So, a little bit about myself. So, I'm a lead BI architect at iLeague Digital. I've worked for around 20 years in finance, and then 3 years ago I was invited to be a part of consulting world in Power BI and Fabric due to my presence in the community and to my interactions with several users in the community. So I've been a Microsoft data platform since 6 years ago. I was renewed for the 6th time this year. I started with Power BI from day one. So we are talking about July 2015. And at the time, I started by engaging in the community, by answering some questions, by reading a lot of what was going around, because at the beginning there was not a lot of available resources, and the community was a place where we shared a lot, where we were able to talk to each other and have further engagements. I became a super user at the Fabric community, and then I got my MVP. At the time, I thought, "Oh, how can I take this to the next level?" I really enjoy to have some to help others, and I started my blog, pbiportugal.com, and I was also invited to be part of the Fabric Power BI Portugal user group, where we do also monthly meetups to share knowledge about Fabric, Power BI, and everything around that. And I started also my presentations around the same time. We are talking about 2020, where I started to do some presentations live. So, but enough about me. Let's start by seeing what we are going to talk about in this session. So basically, I'm going to give a small introduction about what is Power BI Developer Mode, what are some of the benefits that we can have by using this Power BI Developer Mode, what are the limitations, because we always need to be careful with these features, especially because we are still in preview. And then we are going to talk about the folder structure, the main files, and then hopefully we are able to do a demo about some of the use cases. But before we enter in this developer mode, who is today a Power BI developer mode? Is it someone from IT, from finance, from sales? Is it a data architect? Is it a data scientist? Who is a Power BI developer mode? Currently, is someone that has no knowledge about anything. And so currently, and in my opinion, is all of them and more. So why? Because Power BI is a tool that is available for everyone, even if they don't have great knowledge about databases, about data models, about measures, about text. Anyone can pick up a simple CSV file and just build a report with several visualizations and integrations of all of that. So everyone currently can be a Power BI developer. What happens is that when we look at this and we talk about developers, people always tend to associate this with very technical background users. So people that know how to program, people that know complex language codes, and they need to have all of that to develop something in developer mode. Let's see what is developer mode. So developer mode in Power BI provides a feature of capabilities like external tool support, scripting, API support, source control with Git integrations. So in this case, continuous integration and continuous delivery, and a new format to save reports. Most of this, and I can be, I don't know if anyone that is listening to us is more technical or not. I can tell you that most of these things to me, a few months ago when this was released, didn't say anything. Some of them I know by name, but I don't know how to do it. For example, the API support, I know what is done, but I don't know how to use it fully. So So although this has very technical language behind, we are going to see that this can be very helpful to anyone without any special language, programming language skills, okay? So in this case, as a project, a report and the dataset artifacts are saved as individual plain text files. So we are going to see what this will do when we save in this format, and we are going to have a folder structure. The benefits, the main benefits that we have over here is the text editor support. So we don't need to open Power BI desktop to make some changes to our reports. For example, if we have to do some quick changes, for example, if we need to change the background of a report, or if we rename a measure and we need to go to all the Power BI reports that are connected to that data set and we rename that metric, it's a very tedious work currently opening all the desktop ones and just changing this. Then we have also the programmatic generation and editing artifact definition. This is a very large description, but basically we have two ways to save our data sets. So the information that is behind our report. So we have the TMSL, so tabular model scripting language. This is the current version that we have working in every report that we do that is directly connected to a data source. And in August 2nd, this went generally available. We have the tabular model definition language, and you will see what this means. But basically, we break down all the tables in our model into a JSON file, and those JSON files can be added really easily. So instead of having one large file, the TMSL, a BIM file that has all the information, and I need to run and find where I have a specific table and then make the changes, with TMDL I can do it really quickly. And then we have source control and the CI/CD. This is the big game changer in terms of Power BI editor mode. Why? Because this allows for several users to be working in the same file at the same time, and having the question about resolving conflicts, doing merges and all of that. But although we have this capability, we can do so much more. And I'm not focusing on this CI/CD integration, because the CI/CD integration, it's really easy in terms of setup. You just need to have a Git account or a DevOps account, and then just connect to that account, and everything gets merged together, and we can work in parallel. But I'm focusing more on what we can do when we look behind the scenes, when we look at each file, okay? Some limitations that we currently have. So Power BI Desktop is not aware of changes that we make with external tools. So everything we do using a text editor, we need to save first and then reopen Power BI Desktop. Then we have sensitivity labels are not supported. All the files must be saved using UTF-8 without BOM encoding. If you ask me what this means, I'm not exactly sure, so I won't explain this in detail. As I said, I come from finance. But what I can tell you is, if you use Notepad, or if you use Visual Studio Code, most of them, when you open it, they are already saved like this. So you don't need to do anything. You just need to edit, and this UTF-8 will keep working properly. So, but if you change this setting, it won't work. Then we also have live connected reports, save as PBIPs, require the XMLA endpoint. So the XMLA endpoint is the connection to the service, and we need to have it active so that we can do Power BI project reports with this. But it's an easy setup to do, and is very useful to make live changes to our reports. So, and for those of you that already use, for example, Tabular Edit or LM Toolkit, you already are using this for sure. So it's a continuation of that. So, as I said previously, when we save a file as a Power BI project, basically we have folders and we have files inside those folders. The folders are always set up as project name. Over here, the project name is the report name that you save. So, and it's always precedent of that specific folder. This means that when you look at the folder and you have several reports saved there as projects, you can see which are the files that are for a specific report because of this preceding name. Then we have a semantic model folder where all the files and folders for the model are saved. If we are looking at the previous version of Power BI project, it's the model beam. The current version is the TMDL, and we'll see that we have a JSON file for each one. Then we have the report folder, and over here we have a collection of files and folders to represent the Power BI report, so the pages and the visualizations. In this case, we also have two versions over here, two points, because currently we have in place two versions of Power BI developer mode. So we have the one with TMSL or TMDL, and we have also the, let's call it the legacy Power BI project and the enhanced Power BI project. Okay, what's the difference between one and the other? The legacy saves all our report definitions in a single file, so the report JSON, as I refer over here, and the new enhanced version do it a folder for and a file for each page and each visualization. In this case, I will show this last one, so the TMDL and the enhanced version. Why? Because it's so much easier. When you have the report JSON, although we are able to do all the changes, it's a little bit more difficult to read, okay? And if you do the new version, you will see that it's very easy to work upon. And then we have the pbib file, basically is a shortcut to the report folder, nothing more. And the git ignore when you do the CI/CD integration, where you can say, okay, let's not copy these files to my git integration if, for example, I have additional files that I don't need. For example, one of them, the cache ABF, is never placed there. In the semantic model, we have the main files is the TMSL, so the beam file, as I told you. In the TMDL format, there is a folder that has all the definitions. So it's not a single file, but it's a collection of files and a collection of folders. While in the previous one, we only have a single file, so the model beam file. All of this can be added through text editor or through tabular editor that also supports both of the sources. When we talk about the report folder, as I said previously, on the legacy Power BI reports, we have the report JSON that defines the report, including all the visuals, the page layout, the interactions, bookmarks, everything, but it's a single file with huge size depending on the number of pages you have and of visualizations. And then we have the enhanced Power BI, where each page visual bookmark is into a separate folder. So this is the ideal option for co-development and conflict resolution. Why? Because if I'm changing a specific page, that specific page is in a specific folder, while in the other one we are working in the same file, so it can create a little bit more confusion. So that was just an overview of what is Power BI Developer Mode. I think it's much more interesting to see what we can do, and we are going to try to tackle this in two different options. As I said, Power BI Developer Mode does not recognize desktop, does not recognize any changes that we do with external tools, so we always need to reopen. So what I'm going to do is to have the changes in the model all at once. Then we'll see what is the final result, and then we will go back to the files and look at the report part. Okay, so let's go over here to the desktop. So I have this file, this report. This is based on a SQL database and also the calendar table that is a local table that I created over here. So if you go to the transform data, you can see that this calendar table was created directly over here, and all of these tables are connected to a SQL database. Okay, so just to give a little bit context. Let me also take note of some things that we are going to try to update in our report. So first of all, we have this measure sales and this measure margin that should be formatted as, in this case, euros, and they are only as values, okay? So one thing that we want to do is to update this formatting. The other question is that we have this small error that I did all my report in English, and this name of this specific visualization is in Portuguese. And if you look at over here, there is also a couple of more things. So this is the detail page, and we have a lot of pages. Someone just created a lot of blank pages. Okay, so and in the end, we have this sales split that has bookmarks over here. As you can see, they are working correctly. So everything is working fine. Also, if we go to our measures, we can see that, for example, we have over here in total quantity. Sorry, I want to go to my model view. And if I go to the quantity, you can see that I have over here a definition that is very basic. So, and in some of them, we don't even have definitions. So let's try to update some of these things so that we can see how easy it is to do this. So first of all, as I said, we need to go to File, Options, and be sure that you have on the preview, you have selected the Power BI developer mode. So if you go over here to the options, let me see where it is. So Power BI project, it's over here. Store semantic model using TMDL and store using enhanced metadata. So as I said, if you unselect these two, you will have the TMSL, so model beam file only, and everything on the same report JSON. If you have both of these options selected, you will have the enhanced format that is, in my opinion, much better to overwrite this. So we just need to do File, Save As, and when we go to our options, I already created a folder. This folder is, as you can see, let me just go over here to the learner. This folder that we have, project, is completely empty. So, okay, it has nothing. So let's just Power BI and save it over here, Power BI project files. When we do this, it gives you a warning that this report is using an enhanced format and it's in public preview. So some functionalities may be limited in the service. So we already saved our file. Let me just close it, okay, really quickly. Sometimes he always asks. As you can see over here, let's look over here to the left. We have the files that we sent. If you remember, I said that we would have our precedent name, that is AdventureWorks report. This is the name of the report that I just worked over here. And then we have the report with all the definitions. As you can see, we have the bookmarks, we have all our sections, and we will see better what this means, these report sections, okay? And then we have our semantic model, and even it store our DAX queries. And in the definitions, as you can see, we have all our tables. And for each table that we have a TMDL file. So how can we work with this? So we can work with this with any text editor. I started working with Visual Studio Code. This is a very, if you don't know this tool, please, I advise you to search for it, because one of the big advantages to working with Power BI with this is that we can open a folder. And if we do this, if I go back to my project, so if I go back to this folder, and if I open this folder, you can see that I have everything over here on the left side, and I can see the tree map of everything. So let's store this one for later, the report, and let's look at the semantic model, okay? We have also the DAX queries over here. So if you want to edit the DAX queries, you can also edit them. In this case, I had one in my Power BI report that was just an evaluation of a specific measure. So you can even save these queries and use them then in your DAX Studio, for example. But we have over here our tables and our cultures. In the cultures, I only have one, but we can have more. But if you look at the tables itself, you can see that this is a very simple format. In terms, it's a JSON format. So as you can see, we have the definitions of my table. In this case, it's my calendar. We have the lineage tag, and then we have all our columns. So this is the unique identification of this calendar table. And then for each column, I have over here. At the end of this code, I have my M query language code. Okay, so what is the main questions you need to understand over here? First of all, you need this M language code always placed by the book with the M language code that you have. So be careful if you do something that is against the M language rules. So, for example, not caring about caps or small characters. This can break your code on the other side. If you don't refer the correct names, you can have different things. And so all the M language codes are applied. Why? Because this is just a definition file where you have everything stored as text. Second part is, and this is always very scaring for everyone, is this lineage tag. If you see this lineage tag, this is used all over the place. This is used not only in the TMDL files, but if you go to the reports, for example, and if you open one of your pages over here, you can see this name also has a specific tag. If you go to the report JSON, you can see that we have, sorry, on this one, no, sorry, I wanted to the pages. You can see that you have specific names for everything. So if you enter a specific page, let me just check really quickly where we have one. If you go to the visuals, each visual also has its own lineage tag, its name. So these values, don't be scared of them. You can have anything you want over here. The only question is they need to be unique inside your report, okay? So if I change this to this is my calendar, this will work in the same way and you will see. But let's start by doing some changes over here. So first of all, let's start by adding a column to this. So let's create, we have already the end of week. Let's start by creating the start of week. So let's just do one thing. Let's select this value over here. So this, everything until here, just do enter. Let's copy this. Be careful with this indentation. It's always important because the JSON file needs to have the correct formatting. Let's do, this will be the start of week, and everything else let's skip. The source name will also be start of week. And the lineage tag, as I said, we can just, for example, do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have a new unique ID. Or we can just write some text over here, no problem. But we have the column definitions, okay? But we don't have the column in our M language. So let's do the following. As I said, let's copy this last line because basically we want to just use the same code. Let's do a comma over here because we need to keep the same definitions as we have in the M language. And the last step doesn't have a comma, but every other step always needs to have a comma. Over here, let's change also this name to start. This step needs to be referring to the previous step. So again, and this will be start of week. Over here, we also do start of week, okay? And now over here, let's do start of week. Sorry, let me cancel this. But you can tell me, okay, yeah, that's nice, but why am I doing this by hand when I can do this directly on my Power Query? Okay, this can be a question. The question over here is that if you have, for example, to do an update of a column in all your tables, And if you, and this has happened to me, for example, we have a specific ID that needs to be renamed. So instead of being, let's call it date ID, we only want to call it date. And that date ID is on all our tables. So we need to go to Power Query, open, change each one of them. As you know, when you open and close, every single, when you go through each table, the code is running, and this is very slow. Sometimes when the models are large, it will take a lot of time. If you just do it, for example, in something over here, if I, for example, just search for start of week, we can see immediately where this specific one is used. In this case, I only have it in the calendar, of course. But as I said, if it was a date ID, for example, you would have it in 10, 20 tables, and you could replace this immediately in a single go. Okay, so we added this start of the week. Now let's do a little bit more. Let's go to our measures table. This is where we stored all the definitions for our measures. And as you can see, the format is the same. The only difference is that we are using the DAX information over here. So, and we have all the information we need. Let's start by one of the things that I said. So we have our total sales and our margin that should be formatted as euros. So I know that my total cost is already formatted as euros. So let's just copy paste this, and let's go over here to our margin, and let's just replace our format string, and then let's go to our total sales that is over here, and let's just change this also. Okay. The other question I was referring is that we have the description that is very vague. So in this case, as you can see, the descriptions are preceded by these bars. So we can just go over here and just say, okay, this is the total quantity for each sale, for example. And over here at the bottom, we can also replace this is the total sales value for each sale. And if we want to add some additional ones, we can also just copy this or just do an enter over here. And now 1, 2, 3, and this is our total cost for the sales. So if we do it like this, we have already made some transformations. So let's just do one thing. Let's do file. As you can see, we updated 2 files over here. We can identify the calendar and the measure tables. We can, for example, save it one by one, but we can save all of them at the same time. And now let's go back to Power BI. Let's go to our project folder. And as I said, we have this pbip file that is basically a shortcut to the report folder. And if I open it, let's see what happens to our report. So hopefully nothing will break. So sometimes this happens with live demos, but it doesn't matter if you have this open or not, okay? There is no problem with that. Since we are making a change to our semantic model, you can see that we have some tables that have incomplete or no data. Why? Because we added the new start of the week column. When we add new columns, we need to have a refresh of our semantic model. If I do a refresh now, and let me just show you the calendar table. So currently the calendar table is empty, okay? It has the column, but it's empty. So if I go back over here and I do a refresh, it will update that specific table because it was the only one that was updated. And now I have the start of the week. Sorry, let me just go to another table, go back. Now I have the start of the week as part of my table. Really quickly, really easy, no problem. I didn't have to go home, transform data, wait for the query to load. I was able to do the quick change that I needed. Let's check also our formatting. So let's go to our first page. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, sales and margin is already with the euros. So really quickly also, I didn't have to go through each one. And as you know, sometimes when we are looking, when we have big models, trying to make updates over a year directly, it takes a long time to refresh or to just do a simple OK. And let's look also at the data view. Let's check our total cost, for example. This is our total cost for sales. This is the total quantity, and this is our total sales. So as you can see, I was able to edit total quantity and total sales, and I was able to add the description. Okay, so this is what we can do using the files, the JSON files for each of our tables. So this is very powerful. You can even, for example, if you go over here, there is a table that has the relationships, and you can even check and change all the relationships. Once more, everything has the lineage tag, and you can do all the changes. So if you wanted to change a specific one, for example, this one is inactive, right? Because this is false. You can even do a test through. Be careful, because when you do updates over here, if everything is not matching the rules of Power BI Desktop, and if you break it, your model will break. So be careful when doing this, but just showing the potential that you have for doing things directly on your preferable text editor. So and then you have all the model where you can also define specific things. So you have all the tables information over here. You have the culture. So there is a couple of things that you need to do. Some of these files, of course, when you change something over here, of course, you have to also update in other files, but everything is working. Okay. Now let's look at the report part. So our visualizations. So let me just show you one thing. Over here, I have this first page as this background, but I forgot that I have the incorrect background. I don't want this background. I want another one, okay? Second part, I want the background to be on all my pages. So this page doesn't have a background. And if I go to the last one, this also doesn't have a background. Second part is I want to delete all these pages. If I do this manually, this takes lots of time because I need to do delete, then I go to the next one, delete. This takes a lot of time. And also to do the transformation of the background, you need to go over here and for each page, just change the background. Now let's imagine one thing. You need to change the background or the theme for one report. This is easy, right? Because you just go over here and change it. But let's change this from one report to 100. How are you going to change 100 reports background or theme or whatever? This is very difficult, okay? This will consume a lot of time from someone. Let's see how can we handle this. So let me just close again this Power BI desktop and let's go back to the folders structure. So if we go to the report itself, we have some static resources. These static resources, for example, we have the background page over here, as you can see. So let's do one thing. Let's quickly I have a new page that I have over here. Let me this image, let's just copy this image to this folder, okay? And let me just paste it over here. As you can see, the two images are different. Now what I can do is I just copy the name to be easier, okay? But I can keep this other name, no problem. But in this case, I delete the last one and just copy this. Let's see what happens to this, just like this. So I replaced one image by the other one and kept the name, okay? If I open my project, my PB project, you will see that the background for that specific page was updated. And if you, as I said, if you do this using a script or an automation somewhere, for all your reports that you have saved over here, this will save you a lot of time. So let's look at this first page. So as you can see, now the background is different. So this will this is refresh because I didn't save the previous one. Okay, that's why he's asking me to refresh. But as you can see, now I have my report with the new background. Okay, so let me just save this really quickly. Okay, let's continue. So now I want to have a couple of things. In this case, let me just open over here. I know that all my reports, all my pages are blank. So this is for demo purposes. All my pages are blank. So the ones that I have subfolders, so these ones are the ones I want to keep because the 3 pages I have visualizations, correct? So what I need to do quickly, I just need to go and delete all these pages. I can do it directly over here. So let me just check B6E2. So if I delete everything until here, just delete this. Now I have this visualization. Now I go to the next one. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. So let's select the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I need to delete the last one. So I just need to delete all of this. Okay. So I quickly just deleted all the pages I had previously. Okay. I need to do some additional things. I will go to that. As I said, this specific, I was able to identify this because of the visuals I had. If you are looking at this in a different perspective, you need to use Visual Studio Code or something similar to this. You can tell me, oh, but how do you know that this specific report section is that page that you want? As I said, in this case, I had this specific visual to be like this. So the pages didn't add any visuals, so I was able to select. But they save the folders like this because they need to have unique names. But we can rename this, okay? So if you open this and if you see this, if you see this page JSON, you can see that this was the sales summary, for example. And I can go over here and just rename this as sales summary, okay? If I do this, this will continue to work. Everything will continue to work because I'm just changing my report, my folder. But the page will continue to work because the name is over here. I can also change the name over here. Let me just, this is taking a little bit. I don't know why. But you can also save this, change this name. I can, for example, let me change this one, sales summary. Okay. This is our sales summary. And when I go to so each page, when I go to this page, let me just close this. Let me just reopen. Okay. So going back to this, so this is the sales summary. Let me rename this sales summary. Let's do it in a different way. This is the first one. Let's go over here and rename it over here, sales summary. Okay. Now if I open my Visual Studio Code, now I have my pages. Now the only thing I need to do, because I rename this page over here, I will rename also the page over here, because this is the lineage tag that we have. So if we rename this over here, and now if I go to my pages, I just need to go to that specific page and just rename it. So we have, this is the page order is exactly the page that we had in Power BI. So this means that I had the first page and the second page that I want to keep. Everything else I can delete until the last one, okay? Because I know the order of the pages, okay? Again, this is a very specific example that I know everything. If we pick up this and we do the renaming of the pages at the beginning of the project, everything will work better, okay? So in this case, I kept this one and I kept this one. So I have this first one that I need also to rename to sales summary. And also over here in my active page, I also need to do this sales summary. So let's look at what happens when I do when I save all of this, let's check what happens to our report. And let's see. Let's see what will happen to this specific one. So hopefully this will not take long to open. Okay, as you can see, now I only have 3 pages and I have everything working properly. This is an error because of my of the visualization. So, but if I just do this change over here, everything will work properly. So I'm not really sure why this is happening. I think it's a problem on my report specifically, because it's an old report, okay, that I reused. So, but as you can see, everything is working properly and we can have everything. So let's just save this and let's continue with a couple of more things. So that thing, so we are able to change this. As you can see, we never break anything, and we are able even to, if I change the order of this page, so if I do it, if I copy this, and if I just do like this, if I do it like this page will now go to the end of my report. Okay, so sometimes it's very difficult to change the position of pages. Now it's very easy just to change it over here. Another thing that we have, so I have in one of the pages, I have a filter. That filter is, I have a specific page that has a filter for L, and let me just open the report really quickly. And if I come over here and I search for the L, I can see that I have this specific value that is a filter on 3 different files. So I have on the bookmarks, on 2 bookmarks, and then I also have it on a page. And this is, if you check, if you go up, you can see that this is a filter condition. So let me just really quickly show you. This is on my sales summary. As you can see, sorry, this is on my sales split. As you can see, it's over here, class L. So let me just do one thing. Let's just replace this by an H that we have also there. And let's just do a full replace. Okay. So basically we are making the changes directly on our report. For example, if you need to update, let's go back to our files. Let's search for let's go to our semantic model and let's look to our measures. Okay. Measures table. Now let's go to let's search over here for our margin. Okay. And one thing that is very difficult is to change names and then check where everything is. So let's change this to margin total value. In this case, since we have spaces, we need to have the quotations to have a correct name. But now the question is, I changed this, but I need to replace this in several places, right? In this case, I also need to change it over here, margin total value. And I think that's all of it over here. And then I also need to replace it in my report, because otherwise the report will break. So if I go over here and if I search for margin, if I search for margin like this, you can see that this is using several visuals. So visual 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know where these visuals are, okay? But I know they are being used. So let's just doing this margin total value. If I do this and if I replace all, let's replace, let's save all, and now let's reopen our Power BI. So let's see if what we did really worked on our report. So basically what I did was to change the name of the metric and change the filter on our report. The pages, we already saw that they were disappearing from our report. So everything is good. So as you can see over here, if I go to One thing that I also did was to change the order of the pages. I shifted the sales summary to the end. So as you can see now, it's the last page. And if I go to sales split, now everything is filtered by age. So if we go to L, this was the previous one, and now I was able to do this. But the most important one was that I changed the measure name from margin to margin total value. If I did just the change of the name in the semantic model without going to the report, all of this report would be broken. So this again is the same error because of this margin. Okay, let's keep this one for now. As I said, I think, but everything else is working without any issues. Okay. Really quickly, I think we still have some time. Let's see what else can we do. So looking at this, let's see at the structure that we have. We can also do a couple of more things. So a really difficult thing that we usually have is bookmarks. Bookmarks are currently stored in a specific folder, and you can copy them from one side to the other one. So it's really quickly, let me just see if I can just showcase before. So I have a report, another report over here that is report without bookmarks. So basically it's a report with 2 pages. When I change this, some things will be broken because this model is not exactly the same as the other one. We already renamed measures. We changed some things around, okay, page names and all of that. So, but you can see that most of the things will work properly. So I will save this one, this specific one also as a pbip file, a project. So let me just do pbip file. Let me just open a new folder over here so that we see that we have 2 folders. It can be on the same one, on the same folder, but no problem. Let's do, but just for you to be more clear, let's do it like this. Let's store it over here. Let's save. And now this is really quick to do. So what we need to do is 2 things. First of all, we need to copy. Let's go to this project. We need to go to reports and copy the bookmark folder. So let's just copy this one over here inside the report. Report, definition, and just copy over here. And then since the bookmarks are added to a specific page, I need to go and pick up that specific page. In this case, I can see what is that specific page. Let me just go back over here to our files. I know that my specific page is on the sales split. So if I go over here, it's on this page, okay? So I just need to copy this section over here, this page. I can just copy. And if I go to my project, to my pages, I can just, sorry, I need to do this over here on the editor. Let me just open the other folder. So the no bookmark. And now if I go to my report, definition, pages, now I can just paste it over here. Now I have my new section, and I also need to do one additional step. That is, I need to copy this name, and on my pages, I just need to add that page. Okay, just this. So we need to follow some rules, of course, but hopefully when we do the save of this. So now let's reopen let's close this no bookmarks, okay? And now let's go back to our pbip file of the no bookmark, okay? Let's see what happens. Hopefully everything will turn out properly. And we have the bookmarks copied over from one page to the other one, from one report to the other one. So on top of this, and while this is opening, we can do more things. So let's look at this in an overall perspective. As you can see, now we have 3 pages. If we go to sales split, the measures are not working because I renamed them. Do you see? The total sales were changed, okay? This is the problem. But as you can see, the bookmark is working. The only question is the renames that I did and all the changes I did on my model, okay? This is why this is not working, okay? But the overall value, so if I just go over here and I just change this to total sales, So everything is working properly, and I can reuse my bookmarks really quickly. Okay, so why to use this? So flexibility, options of external tools. Some options in external tools currently are not available. For example, this bookmark copy, it's not available. And if you want to redo all your bookmarks, it's very difficult. Improve readability. As you saw, everything is very user-friendly. You can just you just need to keep the indentations in the correct way. Bulk update, as I did the update of the measure name, as you saw, from margin to total margin to margin total value. Sorry, copy paste. You saw I could copy the bookmarks, I could copy names, I could copy paste visualizations even if I wanted. Because let me just go back over here. When we are over here, you can see that for each visual we have a definition where we have the height, the wide, the what type of visual it is, what column it uses, all of that. So access to options that are more complex, so page changes, specific visual definitions, and then the CI/CD that I'm not showcasing over here, but it's very, very important. I leave my contacts over here, and now I think we have some minutes to have some Q&A, correct? So thank you.
Thank you so much. So it was super cool. I like that. So I didn't see this before, and as you said, it's in the preview, right? It's a preview feature, right? So yeah, it was super cool. I liked everything that you can do, and change your report through the Visual Studio Code, and it may actually provide the more capabilities to the the Power Platform makers, dashboard makers and developers. So yeah, it was great things. So I learned a lot from you today, Miguel.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that I have a question here. Let me push it to the session. So can I just ask, is this developer mode in preview, as I am about to do a critical project, but if it's a preview, maybe a risk to use for this particular project?
Yeah, the question in terms of the risks is the changes that they do. For example, that advice that they said at the top, saying please be careful that some of these things may not be available in the service. So, but this is really easy. If you use project, and if you are afraid of everything that doesn't work and that you don't, because you can deploy a project to Power BI service currently. But if you are afraid of that, you can use it and then just resave your file as a PBX file and then publish it normally, okay? And then you have the best of both worlds, right? The Power BI developer mode with the text editor and the CI/CD, and you can save those PBX files without any problems, okay? As you saw, some of the errors I'm getting at, I'm trying to understand if it's because of Power BI developer mode or if it's because my report is older. On the new format, for example, if you saw, all the pages were report and then the lineage tag. Currently, it's only the lineage tag, okay? Mm-hmm. There are some things that are changing, okay? Use it carefully. But it's usable. I have been using it for a couple of months and it's working properly. I haven't had big issues. And even integrating in CI/CD, that is the most critical one. But I wanted to showcase over here that this is not only for developers that have a full big scale with several projects and all of that. No, you can use it in a small company or in a medium-sized company where you only have one person doing all the work. So when you need, for example, as I showcased, the change of the background, it can be really quickly just to change the image and let's go.
Okay, thank you. So I'm curious about the license of this feature. Is this require, the additional license if it's
no. This is on the desktop
available?
No, this is on the desktop version. So the only thing you need, if you want to have the additional things, is on GitHub to have an account. if you want to have the CI/CD, but it's also free to have an account on GitHub. So, but in terms of Power BI, it's desktop. So if you download the desktop, it's available. No payment is needed.
Okay. Awesome. So that was the only question that we have in our comment box. So all of them is actually thank you message here, and appreciate your time and your presentation for today. Yeah, we are going to wrap up the session today, and thank you so much, Miguel. Hopefully to see you in the future events and session with another great topic. I'm not a BI expert and Power BI expert actually, so I'm working with the Power apps and Power Automates to build the business application. But it was great things that I learned today from you. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us today, and hopefully to see you in the next Saturday.
Thank you everyone also, and thank you for having me, Arash.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.
You too. Bye.